Are you struggling to beat the odds defeating Mare and their servants? Well, today we're diving into Lost in Random, the Eternal Dice top 10 essential tips to master Queen Alexandra's dice-fueled roguelike adventure. Whether you're new or coming back, these will help you roll perfect runs and beat the odds. I am JammyGiraffe, covering tips, reviews and guides for everything roguelike. If you like this style of content, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button and stick around for tip number 10, because I think it's one that you probably won't know. But for now, let's get into it. Tip number 1, the Relic and Pearl board. Let's start with one that is most misunderstood. When placing relics and pearls into the board, you're granted an increase to one of the 5 key color stats, when 3 or more tiles matched by color, of course, horizontally, vertically, or diagonally as well. However, you may not have been aware that when you match 4 or 5, there is an additional benefit in the fact that you get more of a bonus. 3 in a row gives you 50%, 4 in a row gives you 75%, and 5 in a row gives you 100%, meaning you're saving a pearl or relic by matching 5 for the 100% bonus, over doing 2 lots of 3 to get the same 100% bonus. It requires a bit of forward planning, but you will reap the rewards. One of the big things to make sure you understand with the Pearl and Relic board though is that the power is an immediate effect. You don't need to wait until you've matched the color on that relic. However, if you decide to replace the relic, you lose the power but not the color bonus, meaning as you progress through your run, don't be afraid to replace your more common powers or ones that don't really work with rarer ones that are more suited to your playstyle and your build. And focus on a particular bonus or two that complements the powers you have, the enchantments on your weapon, or the playstyle you like to play with. Using the Pearl and Relic board to your advantage is key. Tip number 2, choose your weapon wisely to your playstyle. The way you play starts with your weapon, and Rack has 4 to choose from with various varieties based on their powerful enchantments. While I recommend one in particular to begin with, I suppose, there are 4 to run through. I'll quickly go through them. We've got the Sword of Sixtopia, which is kind of a medium range but versatile for most encounters. However, I will say the power attack is one that I really underused. I found it really ineffective. The Lance of Lady Luck, which gives you a melee range with decent speed, allowing you to kind of close the distance, dive in and out, and have high mobility. The spear or lance, I think, is one of the better weapons. You've then got Serendipity Striker, the bow, which allows for attacking at a distance and kiting around your enemies. I think it's really good, however, compared to bows in other similar games, I would say it's a little lackluster, just in comparison, but it's still a decent weapon. And lastly, the one that I would recommend that you unlock first, and this would be Hellevan's Hammer, which is slow and powerful, but with a surprising range. The power attack is where this shines, giving great range that will even hit through objects, pillars, dice pieces, whatever. The enhancement I recommend though is either going with the standard one at the top so that you've got that same kind of straight line attack, or going with the poison. The poison is fantastic for killing bosses. Plus, most enemies will follow you in a fairly predictable pattern, allowing you to route them to the poison. This enchantment allows you to keep a distance and poison to your heart's content. Plus, there are a huge amount of relic power-ups that focus on that poison build. My advice is to try them all out, find what works for you, but the hammer is the one I would first unlock. If you want to capitalize on your resources, use your cinders in the right way so you're not wasting them, so that you can focus on the pips more so, then I would choose the hammer to begin with, and if you go for an upgrade, go for the poison. That's just my opinion. Tip 3, pots are your friends. Super short tip, but make sure you explore because pots drop coins, but also hide dice slings and drop health sometimes. Don't miss the chance for extra health, extra coins, and the dice slings, which will mean eventually getting more pips. It's silly not to go and hit all of the pots. It might be a pain, but it will increase your chances of getting further in your runs. Make sure you smash them pots. Tip number 4, blessings to focus on. When choosing your blessings, there are some obvious choices and some less obvious. Let me run through my recommendations of the must-haves and the preferences. First up, I'd focus on increasing your max health with full living. I think it is an absolute must to survive. Along with slaying servants to increase your damage to Mare and the higher servants is a no-brainer in my opinion. Couple those with energetic endings, giving you more shards per kill to increase how often you can use your card is important. Some other big ones not to miss moving down are repelling rivals, which gives you extra lives, while also reducing the damage you take for the rest of that encounter. Now, I would always choose repelling rivals over the other one. The other one gives you 3 lives when it's fully upgraded. Repelling rivals only gives you 2, but that damage reduction during the big fights, let's say you get to Mare at the end, you lose your first life there, the damage from Mare will be reduced for the rest of that encounter. If you die again, it's reduced further. That is a much bigger benefit than just having an extra life, in my opinion. Plus, later on, you can pair this with lucky lives to survive a final blow, which gives an extra chance if you like. An overlooked and really important choice, granted, it's pricey, is precious pearls, giving more pearls to choose from in coffers, which is going to maximize your run's potential to get that perfect build. Now, most of the others I would say are preference. For instance, I will choose mending wounds over higher healing, but I see the benefit in both. My take is I would rather have continuous healing throughout the run to maintain my health and save off having to use a life, rather than every now and again when I have a big fight with a servant getting a bit of an extra life at the end. I'm still going to get some life at the end of the servant fight with mending wounds. So in my opinion, I think it's better than higher healing, but each their own. Also, a good one for utility is being able to call fortune back. It can be pretty useful to not have to root around to get fortune back during those boss fights. Just being able to use recalling bones to bring fortune back can be a big benefit. Not necessary, but I think it's a good one. If you've got this far in the video, chances are you found it useful or you're enjoying it. Please hit that like and subscribe button to support me, and also drop in the comments if you get this little bonus tip. Don't forget, you can fast travel on the map. Being able to fast travel around the larger maps is a huge bonus. Drop a comment, let me know if you got that. Tip number 5, cards are not made equal. When choosing cards, there is certainly some lesser cards. My preference is anything that provides weakness to enemies so you can increase your damage output to them with your weapons, your cards, your dice. And another big focus is having a card with multiple uses so that it can be more consistently part of your arsenal. If you have relics or bonuses to the card stat, I think that becomes more important. Let's say you've capitalized on the yellow bonus, so you've got an increased damage from your cards, but you have no relics that are triggering off the card's effects, then yes, maybe go for a card which does higher damage in a single hit. But if you have a load of triggering relics that will do certain things when there's a crit, when you get a perfect card throw, something like that, then it's better to have more chances of that happening. So getting a card that has more uses is going to benefit you more. So every single floor has a card choice, so you have plenty of chances to be able to change it. Make sure you capitalize and get one that works with your build, not one that just looks fancy for you. Tip number 6, item choices. When it comes to relic choices and shop top choices. Make sure to mix up increasing your max health with increasing your bonuses. If you don't increase your max health in your run, you will struggle until you are more comfortable with the game. Enemies hit hard in this, so make sure you get the increase to your max health and don't be afraid to spend coins on healing when needed. After all, an alive character is much better than a strong dead character. Another choice when it comes to items is the relic choices. You only have a certain amount of space on your board. Yes, you can overwrite them, but you still only have a limited number of powers. So don't be afraid to take the coin choice at the bottom instead of taking powers on relics that don't match your build or colors that don't help you. Those coins will give you more chances to get relics and pearls later on anyway. Tip number 7, dodge first, hit later. As I said, enemies hit like trucks in this. Avoiding and surviving in order to hit them later should always be the priority. In all games like this, I think the fun draws us to hit first and take damage, but this won't keep you alive for as long, particularly in the later stages. Dodge and dash to your heart's content, learn the boss's patterns, and then attack. Don't just sit and swing. And remember, your dash does have invisible frames, important for the scepter in the first boss encounter of the double doublés. You can dash over those green orbs as an example. Use your dash first, hit later. Tip number 8, relics that favor fortune the die. While I have found some better builds, do test out builds revolving around the die throws. There are many relics which will cause particular things to happen with particular numbers being rolled on the die, and those do stack. I've had a run focusing on these and found it to be incredibly powerful, but also very complicated to play. This isn't for everyone, but honestly, it's great fun. Give it a go. Use some of those relics that say, if you roll a 4, 5, or 6, X will happen. If you roll a 1, 2, or 3, Y will happen. They're so much fun to play around with, and there are some genuinely powerful combinations. Tip number 9, use space, but avoid the traps. The rooms are larger than they look, and most enemies can be easily kited and crowded up. Make sure to use the space you have to your advantage. A lot of attacks will even hit through pillars, and if you're desperate, you can use this to your advantage. Make sure, though, to avoid the traps. One thing with this game is traps are devastating. They trigger fast, slow you down a lot, and really are traps, unlike a lot of other games, I think. So don't ignore them. Move around your enemies, but not into the traps. Although, traps also hurt the enemies. You can use this particularly to your advantage when you've got a weapon that pushes them back, such as the spear's power attack, which can push your enemies into the spikes or even off edges. Tip number 10, the legend. This is a massive one, which I didn't realize until a few hours in. In your inventory, there is a legend which I think is easily missed. I know you're thinking, so what? What's it going to tell you? But make sure you read it. I don't know about you, but when I first started playing, I don't think it clearly explains conjuration damage in the legend. In the legend, it explains that conjuration damage is any damage dealt by summons, poison, lightning, or burn, but not chill. While the summoning part may have been fairly self-explanatory, as it's a conjuration, I don't feel the rest was. Conjuration damage is essentially elemental damage. Similarly, the luck stat, I imagine we all guessed this increases critical hit chance and the chance of anything happening, but it specifically says it only affects multicast, critical hit chance, and evade chance, meaning the stat is also a fairly defensive stat. And finally, another notable thing this also taught me is that time stop on enemies also means that the enemies receive double damage with that first hit. So if they are stopped, make sure to capitalize on hitting them before the time runs out, because that is definitely one I overlooked. So there you have it, 10 tips that hopefully taught you something and helped out. Let me know how you get on and what is your favorite card and weapon in this game so far. Next week, I'm going to have a couple of videos centered around some honest reviews of some of the roguelikes that I've played this year that I was looking forward to. And I'll also be streaming at some point next week. So please check me out on Twitch as well. Hit that like and subscribe button. Appreciate you all. I've been JammyGiraffe, sending love and positivity, as always. Jammy out.